3.2, adding and subtracting rational numbers. And you may notice that here is talking about decimals, this section, all right? But the thing is that no matter decimal or fraction, if they're all rational numbers, they can be interchanged within each other, right? You can always change a decimal to a fraction, change a fraction to a decimal. But sometimes, why do I want to do that? If I just deal with a decimal, I deal with a decimal. I deal with a fraction, I deal with a fraction. Okay? By the way, just to let you know that I love fraction much, much better than decimals. Okay, so now let's take a look. And we did say about what did we know before and what we should know nowadays. So what did we know before is 1.2, add on a 2.3. Okay, so then that is 3.5. Okay, so that's what we know before. But what we need to know nowadays is how about 1.2 subtract 2.3? Oh, that's a little bit interesting. Now here, we first of all wanted to say, okay, well, how about 1 subtract 2 or 1 subtract 3? So this is from our knowledge of the integers. We can very quickly apply onto decimals, and that's about it. So first of all, in this section is a quick review about operations on integers. Okay, now operation I would like to mention. I think adding, subtracting, multiply, dividing, 4 operations, as a matter of fact, is only 2 operations. I often mention about this in class at all times. So because your subtraction is just adding on the opposite. Now 2 subtract 3, what does that mean? That means 2 add on to a negative 3. And that's about it. Now multiply, okay, well 2 multiplied by 3, sure. 2 multiplied by 3, then equals to 6. Now how about divide? Now 2 divided by 3, what does that mean? That means 2 multiplied by the reciprocal, 1 over 3. Therefore, that is 2 over 3. See, also as knowledge in secondary mathematics, we rarely use this operation sign anymore. 2 divided by 3, we use this bar, right? Now 2 multiplied by 3, we do not use this one anymore. We use either a dot or we sometimes use nothing. Here, if you use nothing, that is too confusing. That's like, what is that? That's a 23 or what? But first of all, when you have variable, in terms of not using this multiplication sign is because we're worried about mixing with x. So then we don't use that, so we just use a dot for multiplication. Now if x multiplied by y, you see we omit this dot as well. So we just write it xy. So xy, what does xy mean? Xy means x multiplied by y. Okay, so this is a little bit go on tangent, but this kind of knowledge from here and there is also very important to raise our level from primary school to secondary school. Now, so what does this 2 add on negative 3 even mean? Different way to say that, all right? So one way I think it makes sense is, okay, if we say positive, we always go that direction there, okay? Now negative, we go the other direction. Okay, so if that's the case, that means we have a number line. This is 0, and this is 1, and this is 2, and this is negative 1, and this is negative 2. All right, so we always start from 0. Okay, so 2, that means we go to this direction for 2. Okay, we go this direction for 2, first of all. Okay, well then 3 means we go to the other direction for 3. Then that will go to other direction for 1 and 2 and 3. So we ended up here. Then what is the number? Then that is negative 1. If you want to think that way, perfectly fine, right? But if you also, well, you have a whole bunch of things you can try. Okay, how about 1 subtract 7? Well, 1 subtract 7, so let's do this again. So I start from 0 as my starting point. Then I move to this side for 1. Sorry, I cannot be that long, so I move to this side for 1, okay? So this is 1, okay? And then I'm going to move to the other side because that's negative. I go negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. I go to the other side for 7. But however, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's a negative 6. Now the answer is negative 6. Where am I? I'm at negative 6. So if you wanted to do this kind of understanding, is perfectly fine. But more abstractly, the understanding could also be when you add on a number with another number that have different sign. As far as they have different sign, then first of all, you would find the difference between them. The difference between the two numbers. The difference between two numbers is how much? Is 1. And then you take the sign of the larger value. Then that is negative 1. Okay? Now here, you take the difference between 1 and 7. How much is that? And that is 6. And then which number had the bigger value, the numerical value? Then is 7. And then the 7 is negative. So then you take that sign. That's another way to think. All right. So when we have these kind of understanding, then right away we're just going to apply onto, how about we just add on decimals. All right, so you see here is all the integers practice, and after you quickly finish that, this is all integer, integer, integer. Now, by the way, integer here, well, then that is, of course, subtract a negative 4. That means 2 add on to the opposite, negative 4. Now it becomes a positive 4. Therefore, that is 6, right? So that's why we also say negative, negative become a positive. And that is because of this. Okay, so now here we go. First question over here. Okay, so that number, this number. This is a negative number. This is a positive number. Therefore, I'm going to see the difference. Difference means I have to use a big number to subtract a small number. That's their difference. So 4.06 subtract 1.83. Well, here you can use calculator, before we cannot. So here. So that's a 3, that is 2, and that is 2. 2.23. That is our numerical number. However, now next thing is I have to pay attention to the sign. Now, which number is larger? This one's a number larger, then I take that negative sign. Bingo, that's done. Okay. There's nothing more I should even show. Okay, well then this one, add on this one. If they're the same sign, okay, the same sign, that means I go, so if a negative 1, negative 3, so it means this is 0. I go to that direction for 1 here, then I keep going the same direction for another 3, then of course I would end up with negative 4, right? So this means if the same sign, then you just add the number together and use the same sign. Then this one becomes a positive, and then you do your same thing, find the difference between that, and take the sign of the larger value sign. And then we're done. Now, this question is a little bit more interesting, but I think most of you should be able to find out how to do this. And enjoy these questions. And thank you for watching.